All right, algebra. I am excited about this lesson because I think this is going to be a sweet spot of something that's really challenging, yet still able to be grasped. And so let's get going on this. And like I said, I'm excited about this. Now let's talk about something that we already know. We already know that when we have a fraction, we can reduce it, right? If we have something like 4/10, that can be reduced because basically the 4 is just a 2 times a 2, and the 10 is a 2 times a 5. And so we can just cancel out those 2's, and we're just going to have 2/5. That's how we reduce a fraction. Now, let's go back and see what we really did. What we really did was when we were multiplying, if we had the same thing on the top and the bottom of a fraction, we could just cancel it out, okay? And let's look over in the blue box for just a second and see what we have over here. Over here I have written a rational expression. So I've got x minus 4 times x plus 7 on the top and x plus 7 times x plus 5 on the bottom. Well, I see that I have the same thing on the top and the bottom. I've got an x plus 7 on the top and the bottom, so I can cancel those out, and my answer would just be x minus 4 times x plus 5. Okay, so I've shown you two pretty simple examples so far, and you're probably looking at the example that I have written over here, and you're like, well, that does not look as easy as what you've just shown us. Well, maybe not yet, but we can make it look that easy. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's factor these. Let's factor both the top and the bottom. So on the top, I'm going to be looking for numbers that multiply to get 8 and subtract to get 2. What multiplies to get 8 and subtracts to get 2? That's going to be 4 and 2. Those are our numbers. 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 minus 2 is 2. Now remember, the bigger number is always going to get that first sign. So that minus is going to go with the 4. And since this other one is a minus, that means these signs are going to be opposite. So we've got a minus and we've got a plus. All right? Next, let's look at the bottom one. This time I'm looking for numbers that multiply to get 10 and add to get 7. So numbers that multiply to get 10 and add to get 7. I think that's going to be 5 and 2. So I'm going to put those numbers in there because 5 times 2 is 10 and 5 plus 2 is 7. Bigger number always gets the first sign, so that plus is going with the 5. And this second plus means that these signs are the same. So I've got it factored. Now look what we have. We've got a b plus 2 on the top and on the bottom. So all of this is going to simplify down to just b minus 4 times b plus 5. Let's look at the next one. All right, same thing. Let's just factor these. I'm looking for numbers on the top that are going to multiply to get 24 and add to get 10. So multiplies to get 24, adds to get 10. That's going to be 6 and 4. Bigger number always gets the first sign. And since this is a plus, it means the two signs are the same, plus and plus. Let's do the bottom. Looking for numbers that multiply to get 24 and this time subtract to get 2. So multiplies to get 24 and subtracts to get 2. I actually think those numbers are going to be the same again, 6 and 4. Okay, now let's look at the signs. Bigger number always gets the first sign, so that minus is going with the 6. And since this one is a minus, it means the signs are opposite. X minus 6, x plus 4. So the x plus 4s are the same. They'll cancel, and we've just got x plus 6 over x minus 6. That's pretty cool how that simplifies down into something that is much, much easier. Okay, let's look at this one. Same exact steps, just a step harder. Multiply the 2 to the end, and that's going to be an 8. So now I'm looking for numbers that multiply to get 8 and add to get 9. Well, those are going to be 8 and 1. Bigger number always gets the first sign, so that's going to be a plus 8. And since that's a plus, the signs are the same, plus 8 and plus 1. Do the same thing on the bottom. Whoops, you know what? I forgot. I did something illegal, didn't I? It was illegal for me to multiply the 2 to the end, so we've got to undo that. We've got to go back up and divide this by 2. So on the top, always simplify a fraction. 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4, and 1/2 does not reduce, so I'm just going to slide the 2 up in front of the y, and I'm going to erase this so I actually have room, and that's just going to be 2y plus 1. Okay, we just took the 2 from the denominator and slid it up in front of the y. All right, let's get back to the bottom now. So multiplying the 4 over here to the 3, and that's going to give us a 12. So now I need numbers that multiply to get 12 and subtract to get 4. Multiply 6 and 2, I think. 6 and 2. Bigger number always gets the first sign. That's going to be a minus. And this minus means the signs are opposite. Now, we multiply the 4 to the end. This time I'm really going to remember. Don't want to do those illegal things. We're going to divide this by 4. Now, always simplify a fraction. This is going to be 6 over 4 is going to be 3 over 2. And 2 over 4, that's going to be 1 over 2. Next step, we got to take what's on the bottom up in front. So that's going to be 2y minus 3. And this is going to be 2y plus 1. Now, as I look at this, I see the 2y's plus 1's will cancel. And that is all I have left. Okay, let's look at this next one. The top one, we might be tempted to just multiply the 2 to the end right away, but remember what the first step always is. The first step is always to look for a greatest common factor. So I can actually factor a 2 out of all of this. If I divide each one of these by 2, we're going to have x squared plus 9x plus 18. Okay, so let's factor that. I need numbers that multiply to get 18 and add to get 9. I think that's going to be 6 and 3. Bigger number always gets the first sign. And this plus means the two signs are the same, x plus 6 and x plus 3. Let's do the same thing on the bottom. Look for greatest common factor first. There is one here. We can factor out a 3. When we divide each of those by 3, that's going to be 3x squared minus x, and 36 divided by 3 is going to be minus 12. So we've got the 3 out front, and let's factor what we have left. Multiplies to get 12 and subtracts to get 1. 4 and 3. 4 and 3. Very good. Bigger number always gets the first sign. That's a minus 4. And this minus right here means the signs are opposite. So we've got a minus 4 and a plus 3. Okay, so now as I'm looking at this, I see we have a x plus 3 that will cancel out. And our answer, maybe I'll rewrite it down here because I've got a lot of stuff written up here. Our answer is just going to be 2 times x plus 6 over 3 times x minus 4. All right. Hey, we are doing great at these. Let's go ahead and keep going. What about this one? Okay, so the top one actually is easy, but it looks kind of tricky. Just remember, what's the first step we always do? Look for a greatest common factor. I can divide both of these by 2, and so on the top, I'm just going to have 2 times 2 divided by 2 is 1. That's just b, and 14 divided by 2 is 7. So that's all I've got, 2 times b minus 7 on the top. Now, what about the bottom? So on the bottom, I'm looking for numbers that multiply to get 14 and add to get 9. Well, that sounds like 7 and 2 to me. Bigger number gets the first sign, so that's going to be a minus. And since that's a plus, it means the signs are the same. b minus 7 times b minus 2. And we can cancel the b minus 7's, so we're just going to be left with 2 over b minus 2. All right? So that's it. Like I said, this was a challenging lesson, and it looked pretty difficult at first, but once we remember it's just factoring and then canceling things, it turned out to be pretty doable. All right? Good luck. I know you've got this.